Talk about Mexican Independence Day. We can call this Teddy Atlas here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You heard from the champ himself, knocking out the competition.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And like our guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, ladies and gentlemen, hey, I don't even know where to start. All this guy does is win. I think they wrote the song for him. He picks wins. He picks winners. He doesn't pick sinners, but he does pick winners, ladies and gentlemen. Award-winning podcast host, sports analyst, and handicapper, Mystic Zach. Welcome to The Fighter's Voice, my man.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I picked a few too many sinners, but I've been trying to right those wrongs.
It happens. It's how you go with the flow.
Yeah, too many sinners on Tinder.
Hey, man, it happens. It happens to the best of us. But what I want you to pick, I'm going to pick your brain tonight. I brought you on especially to break down May 2nd, New York City. Anybody can take it. When I say that, it's like a tournament, and there's two other people there that should be in the tournament. Their face just isn't on the poster just yet. But let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the first fight, which I think should be the co-main event. But Arnold Barboza, Teofimo Lopez, and they both now have history with each other, and it's current, the grudge that they have for one another. Let's start with Arnold Barboza, who started off as the black horse of the division, and then I joke around and call him the brown horse because he is Mexican-American like myself. So what do you think about Arnold Barboza's chances on defeating Teofimo Lopez, and what's it going to take to be victorious?
Well, Barboza has a lot of great things going for him, and the number one thing I would say is his activity. I mean, shortly coming off a win over Jack Catterall, before that beating Jose Ramirez. I mean, the way he's gone continent to continent and taken down these top guys at 140 pounds is seriously makes him a force to be reckoned with, and a lot more activity against elite opponents than Teofimo recently. On the flip side, Teofimo, obviously the talent is tremendous. He has those elite wins over Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor. He's someone I grew up with, so I'm partially biased, but I do believe on Teofimo's best night, he can hang with anybody at 147 pounds or below. And if he wins this fight, it wouldn't surprise me if they set up a Boots Ennis fight. But this is a great fight. Barboza having his advantages, Teofimo having his. I give Teofimo the edge, though. I am likely going to pick him. There's still some more time, some more things to analyze as far as training and, maybe some psychology stuff as far as press conferences go. But I think this is Teofimo's time.
Yeah, and time will tell. And let's talk about that activity about Arnold Barboza. I mean, coming off a lethargic victory over Sean McComb, a lot of people at ringside thought it could have been a draw or maybe handed the other way to the Australian. But he said and made a statement, I will never, ever have a bad night like that again. And we can't control boxing. But since then, he's been getting that long-awaited match that he's been wishing for, and that was with Jose Ramirez. I believe the holdup is that they at one time shared the same manager, which they do now after the victory. He signed back with Rick Meridian. And then he has that big victory against Catterall. And on the road in the UK, the judges did get it right. A very close fight, but I thought Arnold pulled it off, and now we're here today. What he has on his side, and is very dangerous in any sport, as you know, is momentum. And, once a team hits momentum in baseball, hits momentum in football, in the playoffs, basketball, I mean, they could take on the giant, and they're going to give him a run for their money. And let's talk about Teofimo Lopez now. I agree with you. Big leaps over Lomachenko. And Josh Taylor. I mean, that was his coming out party. But he takes that long layoff. And then when he comes back, he had I thought it was a very close fight with Jermaine Ortiz. I was sitting at ringside.
I was there ringside.
Oh, okay. Then I probably bumped into you by an accident.
Yeah, I was there ringside. It was very close. I had Teofimo 7-5, and then I was also at the fight after that for Teofimo when he fought the tough Canadian, Claggett.
Yes, that was another close fight too. You know what? Since we're on there, do you remember Teofimo's walkout? Wasn't that awesome? For the Ortiz fight?
It was definitely the circus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with Gordo. I'm probably going to be interviewing him in the coming weeks. Growing up, my father owned a boxing gym in Davie, and he came through as a young amateur, and he really did put his all in. He's one of the hardest workers that I've seen in the gym, and he learned from all the best trainers that South Florida has to offer. So he's legit, and obviously, as far as resume goes, I think he's got the two best wins out of any of these young guys. We talk about the Four Horsemen and the Young Kings, and a lot of people have drawn comparisons to back in the day when we had Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns and Roberto Duran and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. But out of all these young guys, Teofimo Lopez, to me, has the best resume, has to be ranked the highest as far as pound-for-pound discussions go. And I know he suffered that defeat to George Kambosos, but I think that's long behind him. He had some real serious health problems, and in a rematch, I think he would handle him pretty easily.
Yeah, and you can't leave out his dad. His dad's character and his dad's that piston and spark plug that just pushes that engine, keeps him going.
There you go.
Well, I would say this. I would say Teofimo, out of the 6 that we have fighting May 2nd, I truly believe he's the most athletic out of all of them.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that sentiment. But I mean, Ryan's a tremendous talent too.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's one heck of a card. It can go either way. And you said earlier on top of the show that if he does win, you think he's going to go after Boots. I think if Teofimo wins, he's going to go after Ryan Garcia. That's just my take. But Arnold Barboza, he has something up his sleeve. He begs to differ, and that's what makes this fight so intriguing. But I will say this: Arnold Barboza has been wanting this fight for a while. I'm going to ask you this question: is it possible that he wants it too much? When I say that, can he overlook things? Can he walk into something? Can he just not lose his game plan and just want to, get in and break his game plan because he does want to be so aggressive with him?
Absolutely, and the worst thing you can do against Teofimo is to be on the front foot and be aggressive because he's an excellent counterpuncher. That's how he caught Josh Taylor slipping, and Lomachenko was unable to really get his offense off because Teofimo was able to change angles with him, which was a brilliant game plan that I'm sure, like you said earlier, his father, helped, strategize. And so that definitely could play to Teofimo's advantage. I've always thought that who he struggles against the most were the really defensive guys, like Jermaine Ortiz, who are on the back foot and making him come forward. That's probably the weakest part of the game, is cutting the ring off.
I agree with you. I will say this, though. A happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. And right now, Teofimo's enjoying life. I've never seen him so animated. He's dancing. He's working out. He's, he may be a little doing something different at the press conference. Sometimes that fits you and sometimes it doesn't. But I will say this: what fits him is that boxing ring, and I'm looking forward to that. So at this point in time, I have to slightly lean towards Barboza because of the momentum, but I cannot count Teofimo out, and I'm going back and forth on this one. I really am. So what I say today may be different from tomorrow. That's fair to say.
Yeah, as far as levels go, this is the highest level fight on the card.
I agree with you. I thought at least should be the co-main event.
Yeah, and the reason why, I believe they have Devin as the co-main, Ryan as the main, is I think they're going to set that up instantaneously. Rematch. Obviously, that first fight was huge. A lot of controversy with the drug test and the shocking upset. So I think in Turkey's mind, he wants to set up that rematch.
Now, is there anybody that has the opportunity? Well, they all have the opportunity. Does anybody have that within grasp to become spoiler? And if so, who would it be?
I would say Teofimo's got the toughest test. But Jose Ramirez can definitely play spoiler to Devin. We don't know how Devin's going to recover from that Ryan Garcia fight. He took a lot of damage, got knocked down, I believe, 4 times. And, now that he's at 147, he's probably going to be able to actually take punches better. And Ramirez isn't exactly a puncher, but we don't know necessarily how Devin's going to recover mentally from that fight. As far as Rolly to Ryan, I don't think he's much of a risk. I think Rolly is an easy stylistic matchup for a guy like Ryan. I think he's going to come in face first and eat a big-time left hook.
Well, I personally, I hope that happens, and I'll tell you why later on. Let's break down the Jose Ramirez fight.
I hope so, too. I'll be rooting for Ryan as well.
Oh, hands down. Then we do share that in common. I will say this: not even the Maurice Hooker fight, not even the Josh Taylor fight, not even coming out of the Olympics. I've never seen this look in Jose's eyes before. We all know this right here, his whole career is on the line. Not only that, he has the chance to get back in the mix, put himself back in the puzzle, so to speak, which puts him in line for another title shot. The 4 pounds will make a difference because this guy's been making 140 since the beginning of his career, and it's been a struggle as of late. So I do think win, lose, or draw, we are going to see the best Jose Ramirez once he climbs through that ropes. Now, if Devin Haney has his way and gives him a boxing lesson, he gave Jose Ramirez a boxing lesson, him being at his 100% best.
Yeah, and Devin's an excellent boxer. Great jab, can do a lot of great things on the outside. He's also fought a lot of tough guys. I mean, he has stepped up to the plate. He did fight Kambosos in Australia post him beating Teofimo, which, looking back on it now, it seems easy, but at the time was looked at as a fight that Kambosos can definitely go in there and win, especially in front of his home crowd. So I respect Devin. He's taken a lot of tough fights in multiple weight classes. Regis Prograis was not supposed to be that easy for him, right? So Devin, a lot of respect for him and what he's done. But I do believe that Ramirez was handpicked and that he should feel disrespected because they purposely put him in there to set up Devin versus Ryan.
I agree with you. I believe he was handpicked, but I'm believing he's using his being handpicked as an advantage to him. I mean, is Jose, and I'll ask this because I asked the same question to Regis Prograis. Is Jose Ramirez finding Devin Haney at the right time, or is Devin Haney finding Jose Ramirez at the right time?
It's definitely the first. There is no better time to fight Devin Haney than now. I mean, if you look at everything that's happened outside of the ring, and then you look at the beating that he suffered inside the ring, mentally speaking, even physically speaking, there is no better time to fight Devin Haney. So if there was a time for Jose Ramirez to go out and beat Devin Haney, it would be May 2nd in New York.
What does Devin Haney need to do to be victorious May 2nd?
Not mix it up. I mean, even though Ramirez isn't punching like a Ryan Garcia, I still think he has to be careful and, stay on his P's and Q's and work his jab. And the kid can box, so there's no question about it. Devin has an excellent jab. He's got a great rangefinder. He's been in the sport since he was 5 years old, an established amateur, multiple weight world champion. So he knows what he's doing out there. But, I mean, definitely keep his right hand glued to his chin,
Yeah, I agree with you. I do. I think he needs to avoid the ropes. The only times he needs to touch the ropes is when he's sitting down and getting water and resting his elbows there. Other than that, his whole game plan is stay off the ropes and stay behind the stick and push forward and give him angles.
One more thing I would like to know is who his training team is leading into this fight. I thought it was a mistake to get rid of Yoel Judah, Zab Judah's father, and I thought it showed in the Ryan Garcia fight. I think he would have been better prepared had he kept him. So I'm curious to see if he brings him back for this camp. If he has, I haven't looked too much into it, or who his training team is.
I'm going to have to give Mike Estella a call from Top Rank in Vegas and find out. I thought maybe Bill would be in there, and he's always involved in that, but I really don't know who's holding the pads and giving him direction this camp. I really don't.
Because he needs a real strategy, and I didn't see it in the Ryan fight.
I didn't see a plan B at all, and I didn't see him being able to adjust. And I think he was more overwhelmed, not just with the power, but the speed of Ryan Garcia. Because you got to remember, he was having his own way with Regis Prograis.
Yeah, he looked shell-shocked from the get-go, and the corner advice was poor. I didn't think they gave him proper direction to calm down, take a deep breath, you'll be okay. You need to do this, this, and this to avoid that shot. And it was one shot finding its home consistently. And it's the same shot that Ryan was tagging Devin with in the amateurs, except we reduced the size of the gloves, and it hurt him a lot more.
I agree. What does Jose Ramirez need to do to shock the world? Because he's a 12-1 underdog right now. So if you want to lay down some,
he's a what
some
underdog?
money, 12-1.
Holy.
According
He's got to
to
be punching. I mean, you
according to
got to
Ali
bring out the
Setback,
Reyes gloves.
there you go.
Horse hairs.
Yeah, there you go. It makes a difference.
You got to work on that power. You got to start fast, and you got to take it to Devin. You're not gonna Devin Haney on the outside boxing in a clean fight is going to beat anybody at 147 pounds.
I agree with you 100%. I do. So I'm curious to see what he has left. When I say has left, how much has he ignored? Like in baseball, you make an error, you got to have a short memory. Hey, forget about it already. Let's move forward. I think this rest has helped Devin Haney. I think the move up in weight is going to help Devin Haney. Devin Haney is naturally a bigger man.
He is.
What's going through his head is once that first bell rings, I think the most pressure is on Devin Haney, but he also, out of everybody, can make the biggest statement that night out of everybody included on the May 2nd card.
Yeah, and what we've been looking for at a Devin for a long time is finishes and his punching power, and it's having the ability to threaten guys. I mean, Ryan felt zero danger. He was turning his back at points. Devin was like hitting him to the body and was doing nothing. So maybe at 147 he can unlock some new power.
Well, let's hope so to make it competitive. And I just, Jose's hitting the mitts very hard. He looks strong in the gym and he's hitting the pads, and I'm not taking anything away from him. I love him, Jose and his team. But you got to be able to cut the ring off against a man that probably has the best legs in boxing. I mean, his movement, his in and out, and just he's going to have his hands full. But can he get the job done? Absolutely. I believe he can if he's able to hurt Devin Haney to the body early, just to slow him down so he can get some punches off it as well. If not, he's going to be chasing him behind the stick all night.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment. And unfortunately, in boxing, power is the hardest thing to improve. It's the most reliant on genetics. I would say you kind of have it or you don't. It can be developed to a certain extent, but a lot of it is bone structure, density. It's a weird kinetic chain with your legs, hips, arms. A lot of the guys that look like they would hit really hard don't. A lot of guys that don't look like they hit hard hit really effing hard when you get in the ring with them. So hard to improve that. It's not like the movies where you can, grab rice or punch through bricks or something.
Yeah, rice. It kind of helps you out as a pitcher. Sorry about that, man.
I had someone tell me the other day that they were explaining to me how they can punch really hard because they can break wood and do all these different things. So that's great, man. Yeah. That's how that works. That's what Deontay Wilder does in the gym. Hitting bricks.
Hey, Deontay Wilder, that's just, you're born with that. Just like the Tommy Hearns right hand, just like the Larry Holmes jab. You're born with that. You cannot teach that. Some of you have it or you don't. It's like that one kid, he's not even playing baseball. The ball's way out in the field. He said, hey, kid, throw it over here. And you're waiting for a short hop. And he just chucks it all the way in over the backstop. Just that golden arm.
Yeah, it is analogous to a baseball pitch. It is a kinetic chain like a pitch or a throw at quarterback. It's natural.
Yeah, that natural torque. Hey, it's the the go home punch. I remember Emmanuel Stewart. He used to always tell Tommy Hearns the go home punch, which meant once you land it, you go home.
Yeah, Emmanuel, the greatest trainer ever. So.
I agree. No argument there. I agree. And that's not disrespecting Robert Garcia or Freddie Roach or the other greats, Lou Duva, and hey, the list goes on. But I will say this. Ryan Garcia seems to be making his own moves mentally. The only fighter that does not need a belt at stake to fill the seats, to get the pay-per-view numbers, and still, without a bout, it is one of the highest paid, one of the most talked about fighters, most watched fighters in the world, at least in the top 5, if not top 3.
Definitely.
Going into what was that, sir?
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm ranking the American fighters with the most draw, it's Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, and Jake Paul.
I agree. I'm not going to argue with Jake Paul. And I'll tell you, let's talk about Jake Paul real fast. If you ask some of these younger fighters today that normally don't watch boxing, or maybe they started watching boxing, because I've asked them, I go, who's your favorite fighter? They go, Jake Paul. Jake Paul. And I don't tell them anything. I don't go, wow, he's not. No, because I'm not going to say, well, he's not. Yes, he is. He's putting the work in, whether you like it or you don't. He's here, and he's here to stay, and he's making improvements and stepping forward and making boxing positive again.
Yeah, I'm a longtime friend of Jake's since I was a junior in high school, and it was really one of, or if not the first person to really tell him that he had a future in professional boxing after seeing him spar, train, sacrifice without even a trainer or a team, and I really saw, for lack of a better term, the dog in him, and other people have the flash and maybe the skill or the moves, but with him, I saw someone who was determined and someone who had that dog in him that professional boxers have, and that's something you can't teach is grit, especially coming from someone like him who didn't need boxing, had millions in the bank, had millions of followers, didn't need to be going in there and sacrificing, but he had a natural gift for it and was really hungry and determined when he was in the ring. So, I told him that, he had a real future in professional boxing. And then we had the Gibb fight to the Nate Robinson to the Ben Askren, and now beating Mike Tyson on Netflix.
Yeah, well, he's opening doors, not just for his own opportunity, but he's opening doors for a lot of fighters and doing a lot of things for women's boxing and giving it the exposure that it lacked. And yeah, hats off to Mr. Paul. Let's get down to the main
He's
event.
going to be a problem for a lot of cruiserweights for a long time, and people are going to underestimate him. And I'm not saying that right now he's going to go in there and fight Jai Alpataya. That's not what I'm insinuating, but he is a legitimate cruiserweight prospect with a big time right hand. And if anyone in any way, shape, or form underestimates him, they will get slept.
I like to see the cruiserweight Ramirez or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. get in there with him, just because of the matchup and the experience.
Chavez Jr. is who I want for him. Either Chavez Jr. or the Tommy Fury rematch, I think, is where he should go with his next fight.
I like that too. That was a very competitive fight. Fought a real fighter. I had it closer than the scorecards.
It was close. Being around Jake, he's obviously revamped his whole training team. That was a terrible camp. The fact that he still made it is a testament to his determination, and he doesn't like to make excuses, but being there around the camp, he had COVID-19. Wall, shortly thereafter, he was traveling from Saudi to Dubai back and forth, and had a weird heart thing, ready to get an EKG. Just was in no way prepared for his hardest career fight. Very short camp. So the fact that he still went in there under that duress and performed the way he did, I think is admirable. I thought it was a very close fight as well. There was a couple swing rounds, and Jake scored the only knockdown. So I think it potentially could have gone either way. But Tommy fought great. Fought with a lot of vigor, a lot of heart. Had that volume punching that Jake's other opponents haven't been able to put on him. And I think a rematch would be very different with Jake and his new team. He trains with Third or Theo Chambers, who learned under Emmanuel Stewart and was a heck of a fighter in his day. And he's really refined Jake's game and added a new element with his lead hand. And I think that was on full display against Mike Perry in the fight before Tyson.
Well, I'm all for running it back too, and I would like to see him against Chavez Jr. I think that'd be a great fight and a great event. I don't see that fight going the distance. Either someone's going to quit or someone's getting knocked out.
Chavez Jr. is a tough guy to finish, man. He is tough. Well, I don't care what people say about his habits outside of the ring. He has a hell of a chin.
Yes, he does. And I will say this. If he would have taken his boxing serious, a lot of people say, well, he's nothing like his dad. Well, who the hell is? And who comes close to that? But he pretty close. He has a lot of his dad's DNA in him. The toughness is there. I just wish the work ethic would have been there. And, we'd be talking about him as a world champion right now.
Yeah, he has a big-time left hook, a great chin. Some things that you can't teach, just naturally, obviously being his father's son. So, yeah, I think those things are overblown as well. And I know he's had some personal demons that he's worked hard to overcome. Yeah. So, I don't agree with anyone hating on him.
No, exactly. And I will say this: as we already moved on from Devin Haney, a lot of people they just hate on him. They just really do. A lot of them they may say, okay, well, I don't like what you did, how you handle this. But even before that, they hated on him. So in all fairness, I mean, I'm glad Devin Haney's having a closed camp right now and is focused and taking care of business.
I think the Devin Haney, well, I wouldn't call it hate, but just the questioning of the fans just comes from the Richard Conte connection to Vada. It just seems fishy.
You got to be
It's
careful.
hard to explain how the guy behind Balco and Barry Bonds, who was, I believe, indicted federally, is now a strength and conditioning coach and is very closely connected with the drug testing agency that popped his opponent. So I just think that your strength and conditioning coach shouldn't be so closely connected with the drug testing agency. I think it should be a fair third party where neither camp has any sort of connection.
I agree with you. But you can't change results regardless. So you can't change results in a fight regardless. Once the ball goes over the fence, it doesn't need to continue to go over. It already went over the fence. Once I land a 1-2 on you, I don't have to land that third punch because you already went down off the first two. So, I'll let you think about that a little while. It may make sense, it may not, but I think it's home for a lot of fight fans and believers. The only way to erase all that is of Ramirez and a couple other fighters play along so we can see this rematch, like the Rolly. So let's talk about Rolly Romero taking on Ryan Garcia. Does he have a chance? Does he have a puncher's chance? Is he taking this fight serious? Rolly's everywhere, and his mouth is everywhere.
Yeah, why are you rooting against Rolly?
This show is called The Fighter's Voice, and I named it because I am the original Fighter's Voice because I lost my son. So after every interview, I always say, pay tribute to my son by a thumbs up for Richie. Every time I'm behind the mic or every interview I do is my serenity from hurt and pain and losing my son. So every show that I do it. I dedicated my whole career to my son. I talked to Rolly in Las Vegas, and he said something to the effect about he was making fun of my whole thing with my son. And I didn't think that was funny. So I think that he's scum of the earth and he's low for saying that and acting the way he did. So that's my personal dislike for him because I don't. Nobody should do that, man.
No, nobody should do that.
No, so I'm rooting for Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, Rolly's the only fighter to ever try to. He's the only fighter to ever try to charge me for an interview.
Oh yeah, he tried saying something to that effect as well too.
Yeah, I've interviewed Floyd Mayweather and Oscar La Hoya and Jake Paul, so it's kind of funny. Tyson Fury. But I would say this matchup, Rolly is really strong on the inside. He can get rough, which can throw guys off. But I think, his path to victory normally is, coming forward, is landing those big bombs, getting rough. And I don't think that's a wise decision against Ryan, who's an excellent counterpuncher. I mean, you can't calculate the speed of his left hook unless you're in there with him. Tank Davis did an excellent job mitigating it, but I don't think Rolly shares that same skill. So I think Ryan's going to find the shin and finish him.
I agree with you. I think what's going to befuddle Rolly is Ryan's hand speed, and Ryan's definitely going to be the bigger man that night. He's going to push forward, and the fight's not. Don't be surprised if it goes less than 5 rounds. That's only if Rolly wants to engage, and Ryan's just going to be a step ahead of him. Rolly's going to start telegraphing when he's hurt. He doesn't know whether to hold on or punch back, and look for him to get knocked down early, looking sloppy.
Yeah, and we saw that Barrios fight, or sorry, was it Barrios or what's the name of the 40-year-old that Rolly was losing to, and then he gave him the phantom stoppage.
Oh gosh, I think was it the Barrios?
Is it Ishmael Barrios?
Even Joe Gray said Rolly got beat by the old man, but the old man got that old man strength. That dude hits hard.
The old man was beating him up, and then they gave Rolly like a phantom stoppage for, I believe, a title of some sort. So I don't know how that happened, but yeah, this is should be an easy matchup for Ryan, especially because he's focused. I think he's put down the drinking and really locked in. He's the quietest he's been, in the lead up to a fight. So I think a quiet Ryan is a focused Ryan.
The fighter's name don't come to mind right now, but 2 years before that, he lost to one of Robert Garcia's fighters, who Robert Garcia just came in and worked the corner to the other guy. I believe the guy was from Panama. Clearly beat Rolly, but they gave it to Rolly, and that's how Rolly was awarded, not earned, awarded the WBA belt. That I can't pull the fighter's name at this time.
Yeah, so bit of a fraudulent chant, maybe.
Yeah, it is what it is. After this, I'm thinking, Ryan's going to sit on top of the hilltop. I mean, he's going to name drop and call out whoever he wants to fight. And he'll be doing that's Ryan Garcia with the antics. I think half of it's real. I think the other half is just truly who he is. He doesn't need a belt. He doesn't need to, I don't want to say not behave, but he just needs to be Ryan. And being Ryan has got him this far.
Yeah, I think they're going to definitely try to set up him versus Devin. I'm not sure how many fights he has left with Golden Boy, but it would not surprise me if the first fight after his contract with Golden Boy's done is a Netflix fight with Jake Paul.
Well, Ryan Garcia.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, I'm taking it from the insider right here, the man that hears things.
Just the pattern I'm seeing, because Gervonta Davis was Jake's next opponent. If Gervonta went out there and beat Lamont Roach, Jake was in attendance. He was going to get in the ring, perhaps, or maybe the press conference. That was the next fight. It was scheduled. So the draw shook things up, and clearly Netflix is looking for Jake to get in there with a very large name. And I think Ryan fits the bill, would take the fight, and also is a lot bigger than Tank. I think he could fill out and not be that much comically smaller than Jake. He's a tall guy, so I think that's a good matchup and would sell. I mean, it would bring in a tremendous audience.
I mean, that's a big gate. It's talking about putting cheeks in the seats, both men in their own right. And, I would love to be at that negotiation table.
40 million each.
There you go. Well, I heard rumor. I don't know how big it is, and I don't even know if I should bring this guy's name up, so I'm not going to say his name. But I'm hearing that the same manager that manages Jose Ramirez and Arnold Barboza is in talks, possibly managing Ryan Garcia. I don't know how much of it is rumor, take, or it's just, I just hear that it's up in the air. Not that it matters, but it is what it is.
Could be.
Let's talk about this, and then we'll move on. The same manager, Arnold Barboza, had the same manager as Jose Ramirez. He beats Jose Ramirez. But wait, in order to get that matchup, he left his manager. After he gets a victory over Jose Ramirez, on the plane home, negotiating his next fight, he's now a manager, the same manager. But I heard that manager negotiated at the table and just got him almost double of what the first purse was going to be for Kambosos. Now, do you keep that manager, you lock him in, or is business just business?
I'm not sure. I think that's like a personal decision. I don't want to weigh in on and it's hard to know every event that led up to it or what their exact past is. Growing up, my father was a boxing manager, and I've dabbled in managing some guys. So sometimes there's more that to meets the eye, and the full story isn't told in the public. And I've worked with some guys, and I could share some stories potentially that would make them look poor, but I wouldn't do that.
No, I hear you. Hey, I'm the type of person, if I see a fighter struggling to his car and he's intoxicated, I don't bring my phone out. I bring my hand out to help him get out of his car and let's get you home safely. I'm not one of those media guys, so I agree with you 100%. Show class and treat them as people, treat them as human beings.
Yeah, and I think some boxers aren't the best of their managers either. So there's a lot of snakery going on.
I won't argue with you there. At all. And yeah, he did try to charge me as well. He asked me, he goes, "Hey, is your camera off?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, well, I charge this amount if you want to have me to interview me. And I said, no, we're good. So I walked away. So just know that, yeah, he does want to charge people for interviews. But I
For
don't know why I
promoting
brought him
his
out.
fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed Floyd Mayweather. I didn't charge Jake Paul. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
No, I hear you 100%. Now, there's a big fight coming up this Saturday, Top Rank Boxing. It's at the Palms in Las Vegas. Now, you got the Olympian, silver medalist, the heavyweight, Richard Torres Jr., taking on Guido Vianello. What's your take on this fight, and what do you think about the matchup? And let me tell you, Guido's 6'6", Richard Torres 6'2".
Yeah, I took a look at the odds and I saw it was close. I followed Torres through his Olympic career and was impressed, and I followed some of his pro career. I haven't yet got delved deep into his opponent. The predictions that I did this week for the Mario Lopez podcast through Knockdown Rule was for the Tim Tszyu fight and for the Filip Pergovic fight. So that was going to be my next fight that I look into. But Richard Torres Jr. has some impressive skills for heavyweight for sure.
I agree. And congratulations on your seat at the table with the. Tell us about that. The 3 knockdown rule, correct?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's the 3 knockdown rule. It's hosted by Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. And I'm going to do a weekly pick segment and also offer some expert analysis on all the biggest stories in boxing and offer a handicapper's perspective maybe on what the odds should be or things of that nature.
Wow, I look forward to seeing you there and getting those picks. Now, let's talk about these two names in boxing. They seem to start to they're going their own way, but nevertheless, the public and the boxing fans and everybody involved in boxing continues to want to bring those names together. And I'm talking about, Canelo and David Benavidez. In your opinion, why is this fight not happening? Why is it not even close to happening?
Yeah, so I just sat down with David at a boxer gym here in Miami. Really cool guy, maybe a friend of mine now. But I would say the biggest thing is that Canelo has kind of earned the right now at this stage in his career to be picky with his opponents, and he's doing what a lot of people would do, and he's taking the easiest fights for the most amount of money, and you can't fault him for that. If Turkey is willing to foot the bill and pay him 9 figures to fight Terrence Crawford, who's coming up 2 weight classes down, I think all power to him. That's what he should do. That's my opinion, of course. The Jake Paul fight also would have been great on Netflix. Also would have been a big money opportunity, and maybe in his eyes would have been an easy fight as well. So I think for him, he's kind of earned that right after having a lot of great wins over Triple G, Danny Jacobs, Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout. The list goes on and on. So Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, he's beaten the who's who.
Yeah, and also I thought I love the way Miguel Cotto made it close. He made it competitive when he fought Canelo. Very competitive, and that's one of the last strong showings of Miguel Cotto. I know there was a size difference, but I thought you saw some flashes of the old Miguel Cotto as well.
Yeah, Cotto, one of the all-time great Puerto Rican fighters.
Absolutely. So if you're David Benavidez and you're in his camp, where do you go from here? Do you continue to wait or make your own legacy and possibly move
He's
up to
fighting Bivol.
and take on Ramirez?
He said Zerto would be a fight he's interested in, but he's fighting Bivol next.
That's the fan favorite fight, and that's what people want to see. Because there's that question. If he is victorious, then automatically you think that is what they don't know is styles make fights. I think this is a great matchup.
I don't.
Why is that?
I think it's. I don't think it gets tougher than fighting Dmitry Bivol. He's so hard to find. He's so excellent on the outside. He's so active. He's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly tough to fight. He's an all-time great. It's going to take a great camp from David. It's going to take a terrific game plan, and that still might not be enough.
Well, maybe I should rephrase that. Let me say it again. This is a great matchup for boxing.
It is. Okay, yeah, because it's not. I mean, it's as tough as it gets for David. If I had to pick the toughest fight for David in boxing at 175 pounds, it's Dmitry Bivol.
I agree. I mean, the man is just naturally a bigger man, student of the game. Made the adjustments in the rematch on his last outing. He was victorious, and a lot of people thought he should have earned the nod the first time where it was close. I truly believe that they will run it back a third time, just like they did Canelo and Triple G. But that makes boxing interesting, and that gives everybody the curiosity. But before you run it back, there's business to attend with David Benavidez. I don't think he's looked at his best personally at 175 pounds. But you're moving on with bigger punchers, and you're closing the gap as far as you're not wasting your time, because now you're in the ring, not necessarily the best person in the ring. You wait until the contest is over. So he's stepping up his game plan, and I love the fact that he's testing himself, and that goes because of the belief that he has, that he truly just wants to make a mark in the sport of boxing, not just go through there, win a couple bouts and win some cash, but he's chasing legacy now by accepting those big fights and calling out the big names. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with Mystic Zach. Only on The Fighter's Voice is our guest. We were talking about David Benavidez and what he's doing to stretch his career out, chasing legacy, other than other fighters just wanting to go through the payment process, is taking big fights for money. And I know this is a business, but at the end of the day, like they said in Sandlot, legends never die, and the great ones will be remembered. When it's all said and done, where do you see David Benavidez as far as some of the great fighters?
That's it's a very tough calculation, but him being 27 years old, already having the accomplishments that he does, I thought that his last fight, his last win over David Morrell, was the most impressive victory of his career up until this point. And Morrell, I think that win will age very well, as opposed to some of his fights. And I don't know, it's hard to say where it'll end up, but I think this next fight, if it is Dimitri Bivol, is a massive stepping stone in determining his legacy in the sport. And if he is to win that, he goes from a fringe pound-for-pound top 10 guy to a pound-for-pound top 3 guy.
I agree. He has a fan following. He's loved by the fans. And just what he does and what he offers for the sport of boxing. I mean, he had some hiccups early in his career, some with some weight, scale problems, and then there's some other personal problems. But people remember what you've done lately, and lately he's been an ambassador for the sport of boxing. Just him accepting the fight and wanting to accept the opportunity to be great, it says a lot for me and where he's going. That's a great attitude.
Absolutely. He's a throwback mentality.
Let me ask you this, okay? If it was a nice charity match, they called your name, and it's a great event. You get to say exactly where your charity check goes to. It's for kids first and foremost, and then you can do with it as you like. Who's the right opponent for you in a boxing match?
For me?
Yes, for you. It could be another public figure, or it can be a real athlete.
Oh man. That's a great question. Who's the right opponent for me? Right away my mind jumps to a Brock Lesnar or a Francis Ngannou, maybe an Anthony Joshua. So it's a heavyweight for sure.
Well, there you go. Okay, we'll say it's Anthony Joshua. It's all said and done. Yeah, it's all said and done. Who's working your corner?
Who's working my corner? And we'll get you in there, Richard.
Okay.
Who else should we get? We'll get we can get the dream team here. Let me get Jadakiss, my partner.
Okay.
We'll get you, we'll get Jada, and my mother for moral support.
There you go. And she's going to be expecting, hey, that support. She's expecting you to let those hands go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, what are you going to wear? Let's get down to the shoes. Let's get down to the trunks. Let's get down to your robe. What are we wearing? What colors are we wearing? Who's designing it?
Oh, who's designing it? I think I'm designing it. I'll do my own
Okay.
thing. Where am I fighting at?
Well, we're gonna get to that place.
All
We're
right.
gonna
Well,
get
if
to
I'm
that place.
fighting,
But I want to keep it in the. I want to keep it in the States.
okay. Well, if I'm fighting locally, then maybe I'll don my Hurricanes. Rock some green and orange.
Okay, and if we're fighting at the MGM Grand or Caesar's Palace, we'll bring it back to Caesar's.
Hmm. Maybe some
Or
uh s-
possibly
some
New York.
real some real fancy shorts, like the ones that
Okay.
flap with the print.
Right
I
on.
liked
And what
you know
shoes?
whose trunks I really liked the shoes was
Who's that?
Fulton's Cool Boys. His last fight
Okay.
with
Yeah,
the
I like
jean shorts and the Tims.
that works. Oh yeah, that works. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about those.
Yeah, that was hard.
You mean you're not going to wear the boots Devin Haney was wearing?
I liked Fulton. That was and the fact that he won too was like the cherry on top.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, he took it back. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you one for sure, but slightly two because I'm going to let you throw a remix. What's your walkout song?
Let's go, Trick Daddy.
There you go. There you go. I mean, let's put it together. I can see it happening, man. And then we're going to come on the Fighter's Voice. We're going to promote it. And you're going to get some workouts. I mean, who's going to be a sparring partner leading up to this fight? Who do you want to share the ring with to get you ready for AJ?
Um, we'd have to throw in, some local heavyweights. We'd have to round them all up, but anyone is welcome. I
Richard
have
Torres?
I've done tens and hundreds of rounds with in all seriousness with former world champs. So probably heavyweight isn't in my cards, but a lot of these reporters or journalists would get their heads cracked.
That's what I'm talking about. So Stephen A is not gonna get you ready for that next level.
Man, his pad works in. I don't know if I want to mess with that guy. He's got the sky uppercut.
He from the ankle up.
You heard him. He almost swung on LeBron, so I better be careful.
LeBron's gonna need some security, man. Next time these two engage, and it may get ugly.
Oh yeah.
So where, if you could name a charity event, now where is it all going to? Where would you like it to go of your choice?
There's a charity that I work with called Be Like Grit, which is a Haitian orphanage, and I had the privilege to go out there with them and stay at the orphanage and build a home for a homeless family. And I've been able to do a lot of work with them since then. I actually hosted a charity event for Fury Wilder 2, where we raised money and were ultimately able to donate enough money to them to build another 10 houses for homeless families. And then I was also able to do a GoFundMe, and through charity efforts was able to raise enough funding for a transitional home for their students who graduate from college to get to that next level and to work jobs in the workforce.
I love it. I like it. I mean, you're not just giving it out. You're teaching them how to better themselves, educating them, and giving them a place to lay their head. And that's great. And how do they get in touch with that? If somebody wanted to make a donation or somebody wanted to help out, how do they get a hold of you, or how do they get a hold of that organization?
Sure, you would head to belikebrit.org, I believe it is.
There you go, my man. There you go. Okay, one more for you. You're playing matchmaker. I'm gonna give you two. You get a co-main event and you get a main event. Fighters of today or fighters of yesterday, of the future. I need a card. I need I need two fights. I need four fighters. Who's matched up against who in the co-main event, and who's your main event?
Well,
It can be today's. It can be yesterday's.
we'll forget about my opponent, but I'll say the number one fight that I want to see in the sport of boxing right now is Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, and I want to see it at Wembley Stadium.
That'd be amazing. That would be
So
amazing.
that's my number one fight. And if I had to match a current guy with a throwback guy, you could go Terry Crawford against like a Sugar Ray Leonard or Tommy Hearns. I think that would be really exciting. Or
Ooh.
you can do an Alexander Usyk against maybe an Evander Holyfield or a Joe Louis or a Muhammad Ali, a Rocky Marciano. You can go a variety of ways, but I would love to see Usyk versus Evander Holyfield.
That's not a bad matchup. I'm talking about a matchup you made earlier right now. I would like to see Usyk go against Michael Spinks, only because he was everywhere. You know, he was so awkward, and awkwardness against awkwardness with both these fighters would be tested mentally. You mentioned Bud Crawford against Tommy Hearns. I asked Max was on his way. Max Callum, he was on his way, getting ready to take the escalator. Right before he gets there, and I said on a throwback fight, who wins, Tommy the Hitman Hearns or Bud Crawford? He stopped in his tracks, embraced the question, and you could just tell he was really in deep thought. And that's a great matchup. Who do you have in that fight? Tommy Hearns, Bud Crawford.
Oh, man, it's tough to go against Tommy Hearns against anyone at 147 pounds, just because
Thank
of
you.
the traits he possessed. Obviously, with his length, with his power, just the full package. He was almost an unbeatable force to me at 147 pounds. So I would lean towards him, but I would say the two guys today in Crawford and Usyk would fare the best all time against the greats that we've had in this sport.
I agree. I agree. Now, something off the sport of boxing, and I need your high IQ. I need you to break it down. And I'm going to throw this team at you because this is my team. What's going on with the Dallas Cowboys, and what do they need to do to make the playoffs or
Well,
just fix their problems?
I've got news for you. Unfortunately, they're my team too.
Oh, really? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Great minds
So
think alike.
yeah. Oh man, there's a lot of things they need to do. I think they're moving in the right direction with the hire of Coach Schottenheimer. And one thing that I like seeing out of him is that he has an identity. He has a plan. We're going to run the ball. We're going to be efficient at it, and we're going to beat you at the line of scrimmage. And what I saw with Mike McCarthy was that he never had that proper game plan. We never had the we never had a scheme. It was almost like we were going to rely on talent to beat out the defense rather than doing something really well. And when I look at all the best teams in the NFL and the way they've won, it's honing in on your strengths and weaknesses and having an identity on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I think hiring Matt Eberflus was really smart. He's a very high level defensive coordinator. He did a really good job with the linebackers here in Dallas. So I think that's a good move. The first round, I expect them to take Matthew Golden out of Texas. I think he provides a dynamic threat across from CD, can stretch the field, perhaps make the boxes not so stacked. And then second or third round, we're definitely going to get a running back. Definitely going to get a running back. My only concern would be the depth on defense. We seem to be lacking depth at linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback. So I think we got to fill that out. We've got some guys at safety. So there's definitely some holes there. I think they're 1 or 2 years away, but I do think Schottenheimer is the best head coach hire they've had in a long time. I think that was sneaky good. They definitely have to extend Micah, obviously, and I do think letting Dak leverage himself like that and then caving in and giving him that $60 million a year was a massive mistake. I think they were going to sign him. It should have been at the beginning of the offseason, but the way that they handled that was the absolute worst way they could have, and a massive mistake that could pay dividends for a long time. If Dak doesn't return to a top 10 quarterback, which he may not, his mobility is gone. He unfortunately he can't move like he used to as a rookie or a second year guy due to some ankle injuries. So we'll see. But I do think that coaching wise, they took a step in the right direction this offseason.
Well, I'm excited, and I hope that you're at least 60% correct. Um, I agree with you. We do need a running back, and we're not going to put our first pick on him. We need to open up the field and let Dak be Dak, because if he's not going to be running with us, let him spread the field. And if you cover the number one, we have the number two that are open. And there's a lot of things we need to do. It's just not fade out. We need to stay consistent. And I know it's wishful thinking. We never know what's going to happen in the NFL, but I'm still believing, man. 100%. I'm still believing, and there's nothing like that navy and silver.
Yeah, and I think if there is whenever there is a pass, there shouldn't be one that's not play action. I think where Dak thrives, and that's where we can really find success if we do draft a receiver and a running back, is getting them to bite on that play action and opening things up deep down the field, just based off the running game.
I agree. Well, listen, I pick wins. Where did that come from? And when did you know you had it? Mystic Zach. Where did that come from?
Mystic Zach was a name given to me by some friends when we would kind of watch games or even pick them ahead of time. But just watching them live, I could always kind of see what was going to happen next. So it just, I don't know, caught on, Mystic Zach. So I really liked it and continued with it. And that came before the iPick wins, which was a domain I was able to grab and something that I was able to think of and grab that handle on all socials. And it's kind of taken a mind of its own and something that a lot of people remember me by, even to this day. And I would say the moment that I knew I had the talent for picking wins was when I was 10 years old. My dad walked into a smoothie shop. There was a football pool, $5 a pop. You fill out the card, pick each game. So he brought one home to me. I filled it out without much thinking and returned it to him. And a couple weeks later, he went back to the same smoothie shop and they said, "Hey, are you Zach?" He said, "No, it's my son's name. Why?" They said, "Oh, he won the football pool." And he said, "That's great." And they gave him, the $500 in cash. And they said what was really weird was that he got all 16 picks right. We never had that before.
Oh,
So my dad
10 years old?
returned home with money. Yeah, 10 years old, and we knew I could.
There you go. And then it started just to roller coaster, just move forward. When did you know you had a knack for the sport of boxing, or is it just a sports analyst? What do you favor? What do you feel the most confident in?
Well, boxing was my first love. Growing up, my father owned a boxing gym where we had seasoned champions like Shannon Briggs, title challengers like Jamil McCline, undisputed champs like Corey Spinks, and we also had some future greats come in as young amateurs like Teofimo Lopez and Terrence Crawford. So just getting to be around the sport, getting around some of those greats, and doing everything I could from the stopwatch to organizing training camps to picking out sparring partners. I was, involved in the gym from a very young age, getting to train with Panama Lewis and so some of the greatest minds that.
Panama Lewis?
Yeah, yeah. So actually,
Yeah.
before yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I want to hear this.
Uh,
No,
be,
no, I want
be,
to hear this.
before Panama passed, I was the last person that he trained. And the last time he trained me, he left me his brown pad, his special brown pad that he likes to hold, and I said, "Why are you leaving that for me? Aren't you gonna come back? And we're still gonna train or whatever." He said, "No, I want you to have it." I said, "Okay, I don't really understand why you're leaving this year. You should just take it and then bring it back next time. But I'll take it." And then the next day, I found out the news he had passed away. So he knew, in some way or another that
Yeah.
his time had come. And I've been close with him for all my life, and he's definitely be missed, and one of the biggest characters I've ever been around.
Yeah, I would. I met Panama at Caesars a couple times, and also at the MGM Grand. I was wearing his jumpsuits, very tall, had all his gold chains around him, and just when he would talk, people just gather around him because they just wanted to hear him, and he had something for everybody.
And holy shit, did he know boxing?
Oh,
Wow.
absolutely, he did.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
I
yes,
see him
of course.
training Aaron Pryor and Alexa Arguello, and just like the knowledge that he possessed, even in his last days, was out of this
Yeah.
world. So, one love, man, one love. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck
You
out of
got me
here.
on that one. You took me back on that one. You took me back on that one because it's rare that I talk to some fighters that know the true sport of boxing. Boxing is a business now. Boxing's always been a business, but I'm talking about. I'll give you an example. Okay, you're getting ready to play in a soccer game. I forgot my shin guards. Okay, get some cardboard. We're playing. Put them on. Let's go. That's what boxing used to be back in the day. If you don't have a mouthpiece, okay, let's find something to bite down on. Let's get in there. That old school grit right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Out of everybody that you've interviewed, what was the most powerful interview? I mean, without even knowing it until later on, you started to realize, like, wow, we were sitting there engaging. I know I broke through because he was opening up to my questions and vice versa. Who would you have to say? Who would you say it is?
Oh man, I had a great breakthrough interview with Sugar Ray Leonard, but hands down, my favorite person to interview and interact with was the Gypsy King Tyson Fury. He was hilarious.
Awesome.
His energy was infectious, and he treated me like he had known me for 20 years.
That's amazing. I had the opportunity of having a few words with him. I was able to ask him some questions, but never just one on one. Just the name itself, that's a cool name right there, the Gypsy King.
Yeah, he was hilarious. He was over. He's like Zachy boy. You would have thought I was his nephew.
Who's on your bucket list that you have not had the chance to interview yet?
That's a great question as well. I would say number one is Alexander Usyk.
Oh, you got to love his ring walk. You got to
Yeah,
love his
I'm
ring
chasing
walk. The
that
music,
interview, and
everything.
yeah, I'll interview Usyk by the end of the year for sure.
There you go. There you go. Starting from ground up, from your first follower, for your first 100, we'll talk about your first 500 followers. When did you see this thing just start to just blow up? I mean, steamroll.
I would say when I first started to see a lot of traction was actually an interview with both Logan and Jake Paul. I was a part of Logan's second training camp for the KSI fight, his first professional bout, and we did an interview together. I was a junior in high school, and his opponent, KSI, his fans got wind of it and stormed my comment section and were all over the place. So that's when I got my first taste of Instagram followers, and it was I don't think I've ever gotten that much hate in the subsequent 6 years, but they were all over me back then. It's pretty funny.
It's funny the way things work, and look where everybody's at today, including yourself, and how America changes their perspective, their attitude of things that they once said. Now they're sitting back as if to say, "Wow, look at them fly, look at them go, look at them prosper."
Yeah, and now I'm friendly with KSI's team and work with his boxing promotion. So you never know where life will take you.
Man, I bet hanging around you is like a kid in a candy store.
Elaborate.
Well, for me, you love the sport of boxing. You're around these guys constantly.
Yeah.
They talk to you like as if, I mean, regular people, and just to absorb it and to hear stories from today's fighter to Panama Lewis to Emmanuel Stewart. Oh yeah, he was in my grade school, or he used to come and work out in our gym, and just hearing these conversations. I mean, I'm grabbing it all.
Yeah.
I'm receiving it all. I'm like a sponge listening, absorbing all these things.
Yeah, Emmanuel stayed at my house growing up, so he was very close to my father, and really liked that I was playing football and keeping active in sports. I still remember that.
Emmanuel was a great guy. I'll tell you a quick story. Manny Pacquiao was fighting Eric Morales. Yeah, he was fighting Eric Morales. I believe it was the rematch. Yeah, it was the rematch. So I'm coming down at the MGM ground. I'm coming all the way down. I didn't have no credential or nothing. I just wanted to see the weigh-in, get a glimpse of him. Emmanuel sees me, so he kind of moves the white podium thing out of the way, and then he says, "Richard, look." And he had a flip phone, and he's going through his phone over. And he goes, "Look, I told you I have your phone number," and he was my number, my old number, 6618115. But he was that type of guy, and then he even tried telling me this. He goes, "Oh no, Richard, no, I'm half Mexican." I go, what? No, you're not half Mexican. Yeah. He goes, yeah. And he made it possible because my mom just thought that I would meet people. And she goes, okay, mijo, I want to go to Vegas and I want to meet Chavez. And she thought it was that easy.
Yeah.
So I remember calling Emmanuel, and at the time, they're getting ready for the excuse me, for the rematch against Frankie Randall. They were staying at the Hilton. Emmanuel says they're going to come through that wall right there. I'm come through that elevator right there, and that way your mama can meet him. I mean, he didn't have to do that. He did. He's such a beautiful person, and he made that happen. And just down to earth, one of the best guys you'll ever meet. I mean, I remember talking on the phone with him all the time, and just I did my first interview with him where I went to Radio Shack, and we hook up that device to the phone, and then it would record onto a cassette. So
I
we did
don't
an
know, but
audio
it
cassette.
sounds crazy.
What was that?
I said, I don't know about it, but it sounds crazy.
Hey, that's real talk. That's a lot of, I used to write for the Madera Tribune, a journalist, but I couldn't write as he's talking. So I hooked it up. So later on, I was able to go back and, hey, we did what we had to do, bro. I'm talking about going out and sleeping in the car at Caesar's Palace, wake up in the morning, dive into their pool, and that was our shower. We just wanted to be at the camps. We just wanted to see everybody work out.
Some real dedication. I don't think I'd sleep in my car for these guys. No.
Well, this was way back in the day. It's real talk. It's real talk. And I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world. And for you, I've never had a fighter or a guest, honestly, on the show that would go way back like you. Because I would have someone says, "Oh yeah, I knew Emmanuel," or I talked to Sugar Ray and so forth. But you started going deep into kind of where my roots, where I remember, I'm talking to Joe Gotti, and he says, "I got to go, guys, get ready to go." And I remember some younger. He goes, "Mom, I'm waiting for my brother." And I saw this guy. I thought he was Chinese. I mean, his eyes were kind of pulled back, and that was Arturo Gotti when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But we were there for Joe Gotti. We were talking to Joe. I didn't even know Arturo fought at the time, but these are all good memories and things that I would remember and things I've been through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a real boxing background for sure. Can definitely pull some names out of the bag. I was born in 2002, so.
No, but listen, my point is, by you making those statements, I already know you're real right off the bat. Because I'm thinking, okay, that's why when he first brought up Lewis, I was like, okay, yeah, you took me away. You kind of got me all excited. So now you see the statement, a kid in a candy store. I'm ready to ask you 100 questions once we get off the air. You made me go back to the archives, man.
And a fun fact for anyone who is wondering who Panama last trained.
Hey, he left you the pad there.
Brown pad.
There you go. Now, where do you have that today? Where do you have it at?
It's here at the house. It's here at the house. I haven't really used it. It feels a little weird using it without him holding it.
Yeah, of course.
But
you put that up, you retire it. That's good, as well as it should be. As well as it should be. Now, have you ever interviewed Conor McGregor? And if you so, what would you ask him? If you haven't.
I haven't gotten to McGregor. Man, it seems like he's kind of done with the fighting game.
I think so.
It seems like he's committed to politics. Yeah, I know he was offered a fight against KSI at Alcatraz, which he did not accept. So I think Conor's done with fighting, and he's kind of a different Conor than what we used to have.
Yeah, I think success, attention, and money it does that, and he's given the sport all that he can give, and he made decisions to not get back in there right away. I know that leg injury was very severe, and for him to get back in there after that, I mean, says a lot. And I respect him and wish him nothing but happiness. But he's one witty guy. I just thought I'd pick your brain a little bit. If you did ask him, I was going to ask you, what encounter did you guys have and how was it?
No encounters with him yet. I know he's at the Hard Rock for these bare knuckle cards, but I haven't gotten to one.
So are you going to Vegas this Saturday at all to watch the heavyweights, Taurus,
No,
Canelo?
I'll be home. The next fight I'm going to will probably be the May 2nd. Actually, no,
There
I
you
think
go. And I'll
I'm
have
working a card the week prior, but it's like influencer boxing. But the next professional boxing bout that I'll be at will be the May 2nd card.
sounds fair enough, man. Listen, man, I appreciate your time. I know it was a little difficult on changing the times and scheduling, unscheduling, but what do you say to all the fans, the followers, and supporters that support the Mystic Zach?
Thank you. Bigger and better things coming. This coming year, we're gonna get more content to you guys and deliver more than ever. And I'm serious about the Usyk interview. That will happen, and I'm gonna continue to get you the biggest and best interviews as well as the most accurate picks.
And if they're not following you today, where can they follow you? What's your handle?
Sure, you can follow me on Instagram. I pick wins and tune into the 3 knockdown rule every single week, where I'm gonna be giving weekly picks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our guests for taking the time to be our guest here on The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube, please do. www.youtube.com/The Fighter's Voice. Remember, every fighter has a voice, and so do you. As always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, the special guests, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.